Okay, welcome. This is Jovi Mohammed Bey. Going to be doing a massage for Miss Myra Mendoza. This is a private client we get to at their location, and the request was some deep tissue, Swedish into the deep tissue. So we're going to go ahead and start warming her up into the massage session. And as you can see, I'm starting off with the sheet over the client and doing different types of variations with the Swedish techniques just to get the body comfortable with the touch aspect. That's kind of the main goal for me in this beginning touch sequence, covering a lot of ground. So I try to get both sides somewhat even, try to do my work symmetrical. It's very detailed to the last square inch of your body. I'm applying pressure and have to cover a lot of ground. So we just did some basic compressions, some effleurage movements, and finally we've got her in the right position and moved back the draping sheets in the right position in order for us to get into some more effleurage, light stroking touches, get the body more comfortable. As you can see, I've seen the ankle needed to be readjusted, and I'm choosing to use the rock blade. This is a instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization tool and technique that I'm currently trying to display. Excuse me, seems like I have to adjust. Why put on the scratching aspect attachment to the what's called the Mohawk by Rock Tape, company that made their own instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization certification and tool sets for the body and for the skin, for the fascia, for the nerves, for the metabolic waste, all to be able to aid the muscles in its environment it lives in. So we're utilizing this tool. It's an attachment piece to the Mohawk, and it resembles a scratching effect. So that's currently what she's experiencing. It's just a light scratch, stimulating the nerves and recalibrating the surface nerves, allowing them to continue to get ready for more touch and bringing blood to the surface and relaxing the mind. So I took off the attachment, the scratching attachment, and I moved into the blade, the rock blade, the Mohawk per se, and I'm working on the occipitals and a lot of the neck muscles and the back of the head here. Just I really like getting this area stimulated and warmed up in the beginning aspects as well, because I'm going to be going down the rest of the body and allowing it to be able to get its stimulation from the blade itself, from the tool, and from the light finesse strokes, and getting into different combinations that there's a special recipe and formula that we got certified for, taking that certification with Rock Tape. So in the beginning stages with the blade, you really just want to come in and just start stimulating the skin. The skin has so much nerves at the surface that we want to, in a sense, start recalibrating, start retouching these areas, start allowing it to get the proper blood flow, along with breaking up adhesions that are pretty much as a sticking aspect that the fascia skin seems like it has a habit of doing. When the temperatures drop, when the body cools down, the fascia likes to shrink, and it likes to stick to itself, and it likes to stick to the metabolic waste in the background. Alright, looks like we got more light in the picture. I got smart and turned on that light. So moving on to the next part of the sequence, where we're picking up speed now in our stroking pattern. I like to be thorough with the techniques here, making sure we get into these areas, and just really small areas to work on. Smaller the person, the more focus, and the smaller areas you would have to do it. You would have to come forth, back and forth, in a speedy, rhythmic fashion. So I'm just going to let you guys watch a little bit of this, and then I'll further comment when I move into a different technique. Alright, looks like we are getting into the third part of the recipe, as it's called, and it's more of the deeper stroke with the Mohawk rock blade tool. We want to be a little bit more focused in the areas we're working towards, working to, avoiding any bony landmarks. So I like to take it for so many passes where I feel comfortable. I've made an impact and I've thoroughly covered the ground. So it might be 3, 4, 5 different passes. It's really up to how I see the tissue responding. So I'm taking the blade into the shoulder girdle, the shoulder blade, and down to into the arm, the tricep, forearm, and some of the hands as well. I work the hands with the tool. Is very effective. Feels incredible on the forearms. Triceps, it always different. It always differs with everybody because of the amount of dryness or moisture or greasy oil or muscle density, and even body fat density in the individual, how they experience the blade in their arms. Either way, it's very beneficial. A lot of people carry a lot of metabolic waste in the arms, so being able to receive the work in this area also benefits you with, I would say, health reasons. You know, a lot of metabolic waste sits in the body and doesn't really do any justice or service for you just sitting there, besides collecting impurities, and that's not an environment healthy for a healthy body. So in a sense, this is the breaking up the adhesions. This is the next part of the formula where we're getting into a different style of the scrape, and we're allowing her to fully experience this in a comfortable fashion. If you notice, there hasn't been too many defensive guards or tweaks, and it seems like the only thing we could readjust with people would be something for the shoulder. See, in between the anterior deltoid, notice putting a towel in between these areas has a big impact on how the shoulder girdle sits in relation to how the body's laying into the table along with the head position. So the shoulder girdle, your shoulders constantly would be the most adjusting areas you would see a client adjusting themselves towards, especially if the headrest isn't good, then the headrest would also be another area. So these are just things that I pay attention to when I'm working with clients. The massage table has to be very comfortable in order for them to fully let go, fully allow you to work on these areas, these troubled areas, and these areas that just have general buildup. And it's not something you can avoid. The general buildup is constantly there. We're constantly making waste byproducts, and we got to move it. And if we don't move it after a certain period of time, it really clamps down over the muscle, not allowing it to have space for it to glide and contract and do its thing. So we have sets of nerves at the surface of our tissues, and those sets of nerves actually far exceed the amount of nerves we have in the muscles. So I've learned that 3/4 of our nerves sit above the muscle, and 1/4 only sit in the muscle itself directly. So different types of nerve pain patterns is the goal, is the psychology of working towards these areas, learning that the nerve themselves get pinched at the surface as much as the muscle itself receives knots and also pinches or communicates to the nerves that is extremely tight or it's locked up in a sense. So I think there's two different terminologies we really need to getting into between I feel tight in this area, and I'm pointing to this area, so I'm assuming it's my muscles, but in the same time, in relation, I am working these muscles for my job or my craft or life. So what really is happening is these muscles are overworking themselves and utilizing the energy that you feed it, the foods that you feed it, and it's creating a byproduct, a waste byproduct. This waste byproduct is filling the gaps, filling the space above it. The space above it that's holding this extracellular or its metabolic waste fluid is the fascia. It's fascia skin network. And the skin network goes through its stages of hot and cold, and that deals with the contraction and relaxation of the tissue itself, on top of it having adhesion behavioral properties where it's consistently sticking to itself, like wrinkles in a sheet. What makes a wrinkle in a sheet? I would say that I'm starting to learn it has to do with temperature and it being in a wrinkled position within that temperature for X amount of time. And in return, how do we get out of wrinkle? The hot iron. So in a sense, we're doing that. We're heating up the body, we're stimulating the surface, we've got it nice and warm and maybe even hot, And we're getting into these areas, getting into these fascia areas that like to stick in people. And some people it sticks more than others. At the moment, Myra doesn't appear to have a lot of metabolic waste at the surface, but you'd be surprised, you'd be very surprised on how much metabolic waste is really at the surface of people's bodies, arms, limbs, back, neck, face. So for me, it's something I'm consistently learning and practicing, and that's why I've went out of my way finally to start recording these videos and actually editing them and giving some voiceover of what I think is going on and what I have been progressively learning, so that you guys can get more of an insight. So with the rock blade, like I said, I like working the hands. On this side, you finally get a better visual of what that looks like. And in the near future, we'll be getting some more zoomed in clips of all this stuff. I just wanted to finally start working on some of these old massage videos I've done and be able to give it its just due with the somewhat of an edit, and be able to give it to you guys, be able to push it to the net. A lot of people want to learn different styles and techniques, or just see them in general. So for those who've been waiting for that, for those subscribers that have been following me and looking for more work, here it is, here it comes. Got a lot more on its way, but this editing stuff is new to me, so taking my time finally to put it together, but I have the time to do it. So here we go, getting into the blade work. As you can see the tempo, we're working pretty much we're working it symmetrical as the other side. We're working the same areas just on the opposite side, and being able to show more of what that looks like on this side is the angle. We don't really have the cameraman at the moment, but we're working on that. Future videos will be a lot more dynamic in how we're looking at the body, maybe the bird's eye view, maybe somebody with a gyroscope helping film as we're doing this, maybe different tripods. But I love it. This is something I'm passionate about. The body is incredible. It's incredible in general. Being able to love yourself and take care of yourselves and your cells and different areas in your body is very important. So this personal self-care maintenance, I value a lot. It's changed my life, and I've dedicated my time to continue to refine these techniques and to be able to dish out quality therapy, quality massage therapy, manual lymphatic drainage, and even instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilizations, or instrument-assisted lymphatic drainage, instrument-assisted, fascia therapy, pretty much. So the best of both worlds, I kind of see, if we take advantage of all the different tools with the hands, we can be able to create multiple different stimuluses that in collective the body is going to be able to experience in such a holistic manner, because we've worked on the layers and the layers and the layers of its skin, fascia, and metabolic waste that it collects in all these areas. So you'd be surprised how many adhesions, or all the locations that a possible adhesion can occur for all those long hours, long days, and workouts you guys are doing. All that's creating buildup all over the body. And who's working this stuff out? I've been telling my clients, if you're just a regular person, as far as what I mean regular individual, meaning you just work and you don't work out, you're just going to, even if your job is hard, you know, I'm recommending that you foam roll twice a day. Twice a day is once in the morning to open up the body from its super tightness, and before you go to bed, when you get home from work and you get adjusted, and finally when your body start clamping down and start tightening up, that's when you have to get on the roller and foam roll away, being able to readjust these areas and filter out the waste and allow the muscles to feel a counter pressure to them. And you're going to be surprised how much better you sleep, how much easier it is the following day in the morning. You won't be able to have so much tightness, sluggishness, staleness, stiffness. You won't be able to have all as much as the previous day. So in a sense, I've been kind of looking at it and like brushing your teeth. Do you brush your teeth in the morning? Do you brush your teeth at night? How often do you take out the trash? So in a sense, this is a body hygiene habit that we all have to learn how to self-massage and even get self-treatments. And from the fascia into the muscle, from skin to muscular deep, the spectrum of the body is very extreme, and being able to take advantage of all the tools and techniques out there is what I like to do, is what I'm doing, and it's what I do for clients. So as you can see, we are finishing up the rest of the blade work, the instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization. You guys can't really see too much on this side, but I didn't want to leave out any side of the video or any side of the massage that, where it appears that we're actually doing work and doing it evenly on both sides. So Alright, we made it. We have made it. We have graduated out of the rock blade routine, the instrument assisted soft tissue mobilization, and we have moved on to the handwork, the manual therapy, and the massage therapy techniques. We're starting off with Swedish techniques. I like to begin and retouch the body again in a light fashion, feather strokes. And we're going to begin with some variation massage techniques to get her going. You can see that her shoulders are a little fidgety. Tell she wants to really adjust that shoulder girdle. But we're not quite there yet on the massage for myself. She's still kind of been there on the table and looking to readjust. There it is. And in my warm-up sequence, it takes me a little bit just to get myself flowing. I notice, like, I almost have to scan the body out with my hands and feel the different grades and different angles and different tension, different things that I can perceive, from skin to muscular to bony landmarks. This is the time where I begin to fully scan and size up all these areas, and utilizing a lot of my thumb, palm, and finger gripping into the body and really gauging my client's comfort levels of pressure, along with what's called the Golgi sensors. Golgi sensors the muscles have in regards to it perceiving how much pressure and how fast this pressure is coming upon it. The Golgi sensors are very particular for each individual, and some have gone through trauma and perceive therapeutic pressures and therapeutic stimulus from these massage techniques as something where it's actually a threat, and it would defend itself. Oh, I noticed that. You can see that I noticed that my table didn't have its full cushion available to her body and breast, you can say. So she readjusted herself. And we've tucked her in. Now we're ready. Seems like that was something we caught. We didn't catch the right time. This massage table is very particular. It has a lot of benefits to women, also men, but it's shaped as an hourglass. It's made by Earthlight. It's called the Infinity Conforma, and I'm sure it's Latin for conforming to textures of someone's body. And pretty much the goal of it is to be able to allow one side to be unzipped for the memory foam to be able to be pushed in by the individual's body weight and chest area. So on that, what you saw there earlier was me readjusting. I like the sheet a little bit further down. I like to really get into the top of the gluteal folds and the hip areas, especially with my bigger hands. When I loop around, it's more comfortable and I can be more effective. And I've already gotten the consent from Myra to be able to work these areas, so we're going to go ahead and just get a little bit more aggressive with the routine. pick up the speed of the Swedish technique. So you guys are learning these effleurage movements and petrissage and thumb presses and palm kneads. So we're going to be doing the variations of all of these in these areas to fully get into her anatomy, her body, and the troubled areas, shoulder, neck, girdle, into mid back and the lower back areas. We all have general stiffness and have areas that feel extremely tight. So I'm doing a lot of thumb kneading now, getting into all the shoulder girdle, shoulder blade areas that's locking her down, that she's really feeling tight from into the neck. And in order for us to do this right, we still have to be listening to the Golgi sensors, giving us the opportunity, or giving us the right timing for us to push down with the right pressure, to be better said. A lot of this massage business is really about how you're applying this pressure within these techniques. From the spectrum of clients that I come across, small to big, men, women, there literally is a spectrum of tension, pressure within how they're experiencing their own body, and then someone starts to come and actually starts putting pressure and on their tissues and on their muscles, and the nerves are all experiencing all that. So I've had to readjust her several times. She's still very new to this table. This table is still quite new. This is when I first got this table, and I was pretty excited. You can see the tag still kind of on there at the bottom. So we're getting into this Swedish work. We're still doing the Swedish techniques and working in towards the serratus posterior, the lats, the latissimus dorsi, and running across the back extensors, the multifidus. Like getting into the shoulder blade area. You guys haven't seen me, but I have a massage oil and lotion combination on my side, and I reach down there and I squirt a little bit at a time when it's starting to get dry, to maintain the flow. These are the palm kneads, palm to thumb kneads. Switching up from palm to thumb kneading. Pass through palm presses. With my right hand, I like to stabilize the shoulder as I'm putting pressure on the opposite side. The shoulder girdle really likes it to be comforted in that manner, so I choose to do it, and it gives me a good counter leverage to be able to push down as a therapist. As you can see, when I'm bending over my style, I have a slight bent knee in this archer stance, pushing it through into the anterior deltoids, catching a little bit of the pec minor into the bicep, pinching and holding, work a little bit of the triceps to let go of the biceps, start stripping through. Again, nothing too crazy, but my grip is starting to increase as I feel density pushing back at me. I really like working on the shoulder girdle and find extreme amount of benefits, but these areas tend to be sensitive and carry different type of pain patterns that people are not used to getting worked on or adjusted, let alone somebody moving and manipulating their arm and their shoulder girdle. So this is something you have to acquire the relationship with your clients and communicate to them to try to relax and let go of their arms while you're working these areas to further benefit them in the massage. So she's really feeling that in the tricep right now. You can tell by the flinching. Those are the flinch that I try to look for. So we're going to just do a little quick adjustment into these areas, stripping out these fibers, a little pin and stretch, some mobility, allowing her to really feel it. Oh yeah, wish that was me down there. So I'm showing you guys different variations, doing a lot more palm presses, stabilizing at the bottom. Yep. Tricep is a big muscle and it has a lot of dimensions to it, so you have to make sure you're being thorough from the inner, medial, and the lateral part of the tricep long heads, tricep brachii. There's a lot of epicondyles. There's just a lot of areas that are sensitive but still need that thorough pressure. She's really feeling it, and I just want to get this area fully stripped out, and I'm going to be satisfied with that and then move on to the forearms. Alright, this is the time where we make the TP with our draping sheets and flip the client over. Finally, we've got them face up, supine position, and right here would be a good time to readjust the ankle bolster behind the knees. So I got her all situated, and now we're working into doing some quadricep work. Alright, starting off with some effleurage strokes from the Swedish techniques. Getting her to feel real comfortable. Stimulating the surface nerves, getting blood flow through. Pushing the metabolic waste out into the lymph pockets. You guys got to see me re-oil, or I like to use actually the lotion I use for the extremities, the arms, and for the legs, and for the back. I like to use the massage oil. So we're getting into this area of the quadriceps again, getting into more of the stronger, advanced Swedish techniques. Like she's really feeling the inner thigh muscles. And we haven't fully even done any deep tissue work there. But we're doing some frictions, trying to re-stimulate these nerves in these areas. Break up, warm up these adhesions and move it through. Alright, I think I'm transitioning into the rock blade right here. I brought back the mohawk. Felt like this area needed some additional adhesion work, some fascia work. Open up these areas and be able to give her more space in the quadricep area and the knee area. It's pretty effective. These areas tend to have a lot of metabolic waste sitting there and having a hard time flushing out. So again, the rock blade technique, the mohawk, coming through into these areas. Again, we're going to be getting some better visuals of this tool work in the future videos. Bear with me, guys. So as we're scraping along, getting the inner quadricep, so stuff. Getting that inner quad into the peroneals and her calf muscles. You can tell I'm doing a little bit of both. That connection in the ankle joint really needs that work. Really needs to open up. Yeah, it's looking pretty effective from over here. She's starting to relax even more. Alright, the rock blade's coming in effect. Changing the tempo, getting different stimuluses for her. And this is what you guys got to do. You be able to go in between working manual to instrument assisted, depending on what you're coming across, what kind of surfaces you're coming across. There's a lot of different textures and gradients and tensions and different things you're gonna feel on an individual's body. Different areas have different buildup, different sensitivity. So I made the judgment call to pull out the rock blade and get some of this tool work done. I really wanted to impress her and let her feel the extreme amount of openness that can happen with this tool, opening up his adhesions. Put away the tool, moving into some hand work. Got some more massage lotion on me, and now I'm getting into the peroneals up into the kneecap, patella areas, working all those synovial fluids in that joint area, all the tendons around that ankle joint area, and then the knee joint area. I'm starting now to connect it into the peroneals, into her tibialis posteriors and calf muscles, that lower area, into the ankle now. I'm gonna thoroughly get into the ankle area, into the feet, just enough. Looks like she's having some trouble feet area as well, so we're making sure we're generous with the amount of work we're working in this area. Anytime your client really responds to these areas, that's how you know those are those areas. You want to really cue into your client's body language and breathing patterns. You want to promote that. You want to promote breathing and exaggerate the breath, and to make exaggerated noises for areas that feel good and feel bad. You want to know the areas. You definitely want to get to know the body, specifically during that current consultation, that visit. Alright, I covered her up. Pretty done with that that side. Seems like we're gonna flip her back over. I'm readjusting now. I'm pulling out the tricks today on this one. So I'm trying to do the TP technique, but she kind of beat me to the punch. Oh. Alright, I pulled out this towel. I'm going to do some buffering on the body. And it seems like I only went with one layer. But I'm pulling out what's called the deep muscle stimulator. And this machine here, it's a percussion, concussion, massage therapy gun. Usually you would have to fold up the towel another layer, just pretty much fold that in half for what you see there. Seems like I'm pretty confident in how thick this towel is for me just to fold it in half like that and get going. But I worked on this area. Now I'm going to focus on percussion concussion with the tool, the deep muscle stimulator, one more time for those who didn't catch it the first time. This is a pretty expensive tool to invest in, but definitely worth your ticket. I've had this tool, been working with this tool for over 9+ years, and I've bought 3 of it. This is my 3rd deep muscle stimulator I've bought. I've actually had this particular tool stolen twice from me already, and it's not fun at all. Crazy how things go down, but things in bags, in black bags, look very valuable. And when you're on the go and constantly going different places, you just never know what's going to happen. So readjusting the towel, putting it now, there you go. That's where I more like to see the amount of folding for the shoulder girdle, shoulder blade, and for the arms that I'm about to detail up for her using the deep muscle stimulator. And as you can see, her son kind of got in the picture. He's kind of waiting for his mom to get back and be able to help him with some food or something. You know, we always need something, so I'm trying to finish up on her in order for her to get back to her momly duties. I like to do the deep muscle stimulator at the very end for the clients to just feel extremely relaxed and satisfied with their overall therapeutic session stimulation. So I'm taking it across the shoulder blade, just being very careful. As you see, I've double folded it, and I have enough space and cushion for her to be able to experience this percussion concussion in a comfortable manner without flinching or guarding. So like getting into the obliques, serratus posterior, extensors, really get in through, but not really focus so much. So at one period of time, it's a lot of impact. So I like to keep it moving with the gun in a fluid manner. Doing from circles, circle A's, just strips. The weight itself has a good amount of weight where you're just leaning it towards. I'm not sticking it in the individual, I'm just allowing the natural weight, pivoting. Some areas I pull up and pull down. Alright, seems like I cleaned that up. I'm all done. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see where we take it next. I'll just do some final deportment with the hands. Not like it was necessary. Did it with the DMS machine, but this is what it would look like if you were doing it manually without the muscle stimulator. You would do something like this in per se. Deportment is also what it's called. I'm just fine tuning. She's gonna be feeling incredibly relaxed after this one, guaranteed. So going back with the deep muscle stimulator in the hips, show you guys what it looked like. This is extremely beneficial to everybody I know that I've worked this machine on. The hip area really likes this type of therapy on itself. Hips, lower back, TFL, glute medius minimus, glute maximus, lateral quad, even the hamstrings with the right buffering of the towel. So we're doing small circles, small strips, making sure we focus on the bony landmarks of the tailbone, being careful, visually seeing the muscles as we're working through. Switching sides, I like to get both sides thoroughly. I like to put my hand there as a guide, letting me know where the bony landmarks are, where I don't want to go over. Just staying focused. You really gotta visualize the areas and how much therapy is being impacted. This machine does a lot of work in a short period of time. But this is concluding our session, and we'll get further into the editing and detailing, but there it is in a nutshell. Iron Man, Iron Woman technique. Jovi M.